Hey there, this is Faris from the ASKFaris Show, and I'm so excited about this journey. Guys, it's been a long time coming, and I'm excited to announce that we have a weekly show. My very first guest is Samantha Stone from Project Slide Dance Studio. She is a young entrepreneur that's doing some amazing things in the dance industry. So first I want to introduce Samantha, and Samantha, you can tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the industry.
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for having me, and hello to all the ASKFaris fans out there. Yes, my name is Samantha Stone. I'm the founder of Project Slide. Project Slide is a dance program for kids and teens, and we're located in the Decatur area. And how I got started was about 8 years ago, actually.
Wow.
Yes, wow, it's crazy. Time flies. Yeah, I knew I always wanted to have a dance studio,
hmm
and I was on tour,
Uh-huh.
and I realized that, you know what, this isn't going to last forever.
Uh-huh.
So I have to make some smart moves. So I started saving my money,
Uh-huh.
and I said, you know what, instead of starting it later,
Yeah.
I should start it now. So I did just that, and yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to talk a little bit more,
Yeah,
but
most definitely.
that's pretty
We're,
much
we're,
it.
we're going to delve really deep into this because our listeners, these are entrepreneurs. These are people that are either on that path of entrepreneurship or actually thinking about actually
Yeah.
becoming an entrepreneur. And that's the reason why I wanted you to come on board, because a lot of times people, they go in business, but they
Mhm.
fail to realize that it's a business behind everything. And I know you're passionate about dancing and
Yes.
passionate about seeing actually lives being transformed through dance.
Mhm.
So how has it been with your transition of actually turning it from the passion to realizing the business aspect of it? So kind of walk me through that journey a little bit.
Walk you through the journey. Well, it's a crazy journey.
Uh,
This journey isn't for everybody. It's a
I
lot
guarantee
of
it.
ups and downs. It's a lot of hard work.
hmm
But the journey, oh, I think when you start, you're just excited. So
hmm
it starts off just like everything's just good. Like I just remember staying up to like
Uh-huh.
6 in the morning, and my husband looking at me like, you should be sleeping. I'm like, no, I have a plan.
uh-huh.
No one's gonna stop me. Mwah. You know? So it was the excitement, and
hmm
then you start to see things happening, and you realize that if you think about it
Uh-huh.
and just start it,
Mhm.
things, I was like, wow, this can really be
Wow. So
something.
let's actually stay right there in that moment. You said when
Yes,
things started to happen. What was one of those pivotal moments where you realized that, you know what, I'm onto something? Like things are really starting to happen. And what
yes.
was one of those moments that you can remember?
When somebody paid me for what I was doing.
Wow. It's like that.
Look, when somebody pay you, then you're like, well, more people can pay me.
It,
If one person, I mean, that's how I looked at it. I
uh-huh,
don't know if the entrepreneurs out there,
uh-huh,
but I felt like I believe in myself,
uh-huh.
but it takes a lot,
Wow.
for you
Wow.
to get other people to believe in it.
Wow.
So I'm not talking about family members bringing their kids.
Yep.
I'm talking about having a complete stranger
Wow.
pay you. I was like,
Wow.
for me, that's all I needed. I was like, I just need one
That's
person
it.
to
That's one
say,
person.
sign me up, and I'm good. So
Wow.
that was the first moment. It
That's
was the
amazing right there. That's amazing because again, it's like so many times people that are passionate about things, they really don't look because they naturally don't look at it for the dollar amount. But when someone actually recognizes it and willing to pull their wallet out, pull their credit card and pay you,
yeah.
like that's an overjoyous type feeling right there. So I
Yes.
can understand that.
I was
But
like, I'm in there, baby.
oh my goodness. So as far as like the steps, because I understand that a lot of entrepreneurs think that as soon as you start a business, day one, it's gonna blow up to where you are today. And we're gonna talk about where you are today a little later. But
Yes.
people think that it's just an automatic, bam, it's an instantaneous type of thing when it comes to entrepreneurship. But just share with our listeners today on your path, on your ups and some of the downs, and etc. Because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, it's a lot of them. I'm going to try to answer your questions and not get off because it's just so much. I'm just so excited to be doing this.
Yes.
But the moments, okay, when I first started, I had some siblings, two girls who started.
Mm-hmm.
And they were with me. I feel like it was about 3 months where it was just them.
Wow. Wow.
I really feel like that. But I was like, it's all good. And then they ended up inviting a friend. Then the friend came. Then that friend invited another friend.
Wow.
So the point is, it started really small. Really small. And I mean, it was months where it was just us. Wow. And in my mind, even though it was like 5 kids, I was like, one day it's going to be 100 kids. So it's the craziest thing. I think being an entrepreneur, like God gives you that vision and you just have to go with it. And no one else, you're the only one with that vision. Like I literally was like 3 or 5, I don't even remember, about 5 to 7 kids. There's a video on YouTube. I gotta go back and count, but it's probably like 7 kids. And in my mind, it was like 100.
Wow! Wow! So what?
Like that for a long time.
What actually kept you encouraged? Because again, 5 kids. So many times people look at like the expenses that come along with owning a studio or owning any business. The expenses, the thought that I'm supposed to be further because you're a college graduate, you invested in yourself financially to actually you just didn't wake up and say I want to dance. You practiced, you studied, you did a lot of things in the industry. But what actually kept you focused and so motivated? Because five kids for a number of months or years, that can be discouraging. But what actually kept you going?
Again, knowing that you have this vision and it's like this innocence with the vision. So I wasn't thinking about the numbers. I was just thinking about the vision.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
That makes total.
I'm not thinking about, oh, you only have 7 kids, honey. What are you doing? I'm thinking, but one day I will have hundreds and thousands of kids. So I'm just going to keep going. You know, and again, when people pay, it deposits that passion. You're like, I'm on to something.
Yes.
So I guess that further answer that, it's getting at, like I said, at first it was 2 kids. So that was like, I'm good. So I'm not alone in this.
Yes.
What I'm doing is actually good. Then that 3rd person, you're like, okay. Wow. Maybe this wasn't me just amping myself up. Then when the 5th and 7th person, you're like, okay,
I got this.
I'm good.
Exactly.
This is enough to keep me going.
Wow.
Because it's just a matter of duplicating what I've already been doing over and over and over again. And 7 becomes 20, and 20 becomes 30, and 30 becomes 50, and 50 becomes 100.
And that's one thing. I think one thing you're really nailing down is you were consistent and you didn't quit. And that's one thing. I know you've been in the industry for a while and you may have seen studios come and go and people come and go, but the one that wins is actually the one that sticks into it. Yes. And I have my little giraffe right here. And that's one thing I always say, you have to have a giraffe point of view when you're an entrepreneur. You can't be on the ground thinking like a turtle, because sometimes they get distracted by the little things, by branches in the road. But a giraffe point of view, they look further down. And I think that's one key thing that entrepreneurs have. And I think that's one key thing that you have as well.
Thank you.
So we're going to switch it up a little bit. Give me one person who really kind of like, tell me about Project Slide. How did you come up with the name of Slide? What was that inspiration? Where did that come from?
Okay. I have to give a shout out to my mother, okay? Otherwise she will kill me.
Okay, we don't want that.
She's like, you better remember. No, my mother, oh my God, who's everything. She's so creative, so brilliant. Oh my God, I actually have another business idea, and I called her recently, like, Mom, what should I name it? Because she's super, super smart.
Exactly.
Anyway, I told her I knew I wanted a dance studio. I knew I wanted to be positive. And I knew I wanted to work with kids. She was like, just give me a night. And I was like, okay, I will. The next morning, she called me. I was like, Mom, she said, I got it.
Wow.
I was like, okay, what is it? She said, Project Slide. I was like, okay. And she said, Slide can stand for Saving Lives in Dance Education.
Wow.
Now, my mother is an English teacher and a very good one at that, but I still questioned her. I said, Mom, is that proper English? Saving lives? She was like, yes. I said, okay.
Wow.
Works for me, honey.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
my mother, and my mother.
Well, that's amazing,
And
right?
once she came up with the name, that was it. I
Wow.
was like, I'm
And,
good.
and it's so befitting. It's so befitting. But we're going to take a moment just really quickly to go through and thank our sponsors. But we're going to come back. And the next question you're going to be hearing is, my thing is, I see that Project Slide is very community oriented. And that's one thing a lot of small businesses, they have to have that component in their business structure. So I want to, when we come back, I want you to let our audience know, why is it so important to actually reach the children, and why it's so important to reach back into our community as well. All right, so we're gonna be right back in a second. All right, don't change the dial. Come back to us in a second. All right.
Okay, stay tuned.
The moon is out, sitting alone in the sky tonight.
All right, welcome back. Again, we're here today with Project Slide's founder and CEO, Samantha Stone. Samantha Stone, I know before we left for our break, we were talking about the importance of actually giving back to our community and why you focus so much on the next generation, why you focus so much on the children. So if you can, just start right there. I think that's where our audience, so many entrepreneurs, they focus on the dollars and the dimes, but we have to realize that we're here to go through and make an impact within our community as well. So why is it so important to focus on the community and the children within?
Great question. I think for entrepreneurs, number one, you have to think about your strengths and weaknesses.
Wow.
So my honest answer is, I've always had a knack for teaching kids, like growing up. And people out there that watch this, that grew up in my neighborhood, know that I was always teaching somebody dance. I was a cheerleader and I was always working with kids. And when I finished with school, I went to the University of Minnesota. I have a BFA in dance. All my dancers out there with degrees. I am one of those. And I would work with kids, and I just realized that was my thing. You know, you really have to be honest with yourself when you do something. You know, you can't just, create something and say, oh, I, wake up today and say, oh, let me work with adults. That may not be your thing. And for me, I just work so well with kids.
Wow.
I really, really, really do. I just have a natural thing for teaching them. I know the language. I guess I have the energy. Something about it that's just my thing.
Exactly.
And when I started my business, I said, and you have to think about what's missing and what you can bring. And I realized there wasn't a lot of kid-based programs. Like, I'm in Atlanta, and of course the dance scene is hot, but it's more for professional dancers. And that could be intimidating when you go into a studio and the dancers walk in and they all look like they just got on tour with Usher. It's like, well, I just want to learn how to dance, but you can't, it's harder to get, comfortable when you're dancing somebody who's literally look like they just got off the tour bus and they're killing it. And you're just like, I just want to learn, but they're here because they know that teacher could be Usher's choreographer.
Yes.
And I said, what about that kid who was like myself, who just wants to learn?
Wow.
Like, you got to start somewhere. So to answer your question, it was important because that's my area of expertise and the gift that God has given me. And I realized that there was a need for it.
Wow.
And of course, it's always important to give back to the kids and the community because you want to keep the kids busy. And then I started thinking, okay, you want to keep kids active, with social media and this new world.
Everything.
What you want to call it. Kids it's so easy for them just to stay inside and stay on the computer and get in trouble. So I just remember dance being a major part in my life. Wow. So I said, why not I just create an avenue for other kids?
And that's so beautifully put, because I think we have a social responsibility as entrepreneurs to go out there and actually impact the generation, because we can only do what we're doing for so long. If it's 75, 80 years, 100 years, whatever, we still have to go through and actually turn the baton over to the next generation. And that's one thing I look at how personally my businesses actually ran. I knew that I did not build these businesses alone. I needed the community. I needed the people within the community. And that's why it's so important to go through and support that community that we're from as well. And I know you do a fantastic job with that. But one thing, I want you to talk directly to these individuals, to young entrepreneurs who are going out there, who's thinking about starting a business. And one thing I always teach is, when it comes to starting a business, there's 3 ways to start a business. You can go through and make mistakes. You can model someone who has been successful, or you can find a mentor. And I think mentor, model, and mistakes, and we all as entrepreneurs, we all have been down these 3 journeys somehow. And I think the combination between mentorship and modeling is the perfect combination for a successful entrepreneur. So I want you to talk directly to a young entrepreneur who's actually thinking about actually starting a business, thinking about they're passionate about something. What's that one thing that you would say to that person to actually push them forward to actually go on this entrepreneurial journey?
Just start. Simple as that. Start. Do less thinking, planning, more doing. Just do it. I didn't start with the largest studio. I didn't start with the most people, but I started. And that's more than what a lot of people do. You start overthinking, you start second guessing, you start doubting yourself, you start, crunching the numbers. Oh, let's say you can't even afford building. Go someplace and ask if you could rent.
Wow. Yes.
So a lot of times entrepreneurs, you think about the bigger picture, and if it's not perfect, and I'm speaking to myself because again, I have more ideas.
Yes.
And you start to say, and you probably dealt with this too, you want everything to be perfect.
Yes.
You started,
yes.
Like even with like this, interview.
Yes.
You don't have to have the best technology, but the fact that you're just doing it. Because there's somebody out there with the same idea that's mapping it out in their basement, who's afraid to use their 2003 Mac because it's probably not going to. It's about the product and actually doing it. You never know. Like tomorrow you may meet Gary Vaynerchuk,
Exactly.
And you say, look, I love what you're doing. I will fund you.
Wow.
You just never know.
That makes so much sense because again, just like you said, just start. It's like Nike says, just do it. So many times we talk and plan and plan and talk and plan, and years, days, months go by, and we never go through an act. If we can never wait for the perfect storm. We can never wait for that perfect moment to start. There will never be a perfect moment. There's never a perfect time to shake a hand. There's never a perfect time. There's never enough money. Just start. Just start. And that's where I want to go through and actually bring this interview. We're going towards a close. We're going towards our phase in the interview. No, we're not going just yet, but we're going to a phase right now where we're going to ask 10 questions. And these questions have been submitted by individuals, fellow entrepreneurs, fellow individuals that are on this journey. And I'm going to ask you a few questions that hopefully we're not going to take all day because this is supposed to be answered within 10 minutes, and I have my questions right in front of me.
I love talking, so it's not going to be 10 minutes.
Exactly. We're going to get this thing rocking. All right, the first question, and just think about it really quickly. First question is, when did you realize you were an entrepreneur? Not a dancer. When did you realize you were an entrepreneur?
Ooh, that's a great question. When I realized, man, I guess when it just got real. I would say when it wasn't all good, if that makes sense. It's like, wow, I have choices to make and the responsibility is on me. Like I'm in charge of this all.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be my answer.
Second question, how do you advertise your business?
It's a great question. Of course, we have the Facebook, we do YouTube, but in all honesty, it's been word of mouth. Producing good quality and people talking.
Yes.
That's it.
Are you comfortable with failing? So many times people, they just, I don't want to try this, I'm going to fail. Are you comfortable with failing?
No, and that's not good.
Mhm.
That's not good. That's probably not the good entrepreneur answer, but I'm just being
That's
honest.
honest. That's honest.
I'm a perfectionist. I don't want to fail, but in business life,
Exactly.
I'm not comfortable with it, but I'm learning to get comfortable with it because
Uh-huh.
that's the only way you can grow. So my answer is I'm not, but I'm working on it. And entrepreneurs should absolutely be comfortable with
You got it. Just continue to fail. Continue to fail.
I'm keeping it real.
Exactly. Next one. Do you mainly? Because I know you're broadening your spectrum, and I know there may be other entrepreneurs, maybe individuals that are in the dance arena who's actually looking for that mentor, someone to go through and communicate with. But are you mainly servicing the local area? Are you nationally? What's your service area?
I would say servicing locally, but again, we have a insane YouTube following,
Uh,
so hey,
your,
let's just put it out there.
so your reach is national.
Inspiring people internationally.
That's what I'm talking about.
But
Okay.
we're servicing locally, and one day we'll be servicing internationally.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Next question. Have you ever turned down a client?
You turned down a client. I'm trying to. Ooh, I threatened to.
Uh,
I do. Yeah, I threatened to, but I don't think I ended up turning it down. But I threatened to.
got it, got it, got it, got it, got it.
Yes.
All right. So my thing. Okay. The next question was, where do you turn for mentorship or advice? Where do you turn for mentorship or advice?
This is bad. This is another area where I need to work on because it just gets so busy. Everyone needs a mentor. But to answer your question, I go online. I go to conventions and things like that with other entrepreneurs, other dance studio owners.
And beautiful.
So
I'm going to cut you right there because my thing is that's a form of mentorship. So many times people they want to be mentored by Oprah Winfrey, but you could be mentored by Oprah through her YouTube videos, through reading some of her books. So mentorship is not directly like, hey, let's sit down and have a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, you may get to that point, but there's just like you said, association through conventions and those other things as well. So you're being directly mentored, and I'm glad you brought that point up because so many times people think that mentorship is just, can I sit down and touch a person? Hey, you can be mentored by whoever you choose to be mentored by.
I was gonna say that too. I'm also mentored by people that are great around me. Sometimes I don't say it, but again, the people that are around me that are doing great things, I'm observing, taking notes. So
Wow.
So it's like you said it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I have two more questions. It says, what are your two most important skills that you have that have contributed to your success? What are your two most important skills that you have had that contribute to you?
Important skills. I would say I'm extremely hardworking. I can outwork anybody. Is that the right way to say it?
I love it.
I'm one of those, like I will put in the work to make sure that I'm giving the best quality. That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the other thing is I'm really just good at what I do. I'm just naturally a good teacher. I could take somebody with two left feet and make them look like it's almost a problem because I have parents who are like, oh, should my child move up? And I'm like, I don't want to sound cocky, but I'm literally that good that I can make them look good.
Wow.
Even though sometimes they're not as,
I love it. I love it.
That's just my gift.
Well, I have a 1-year-old daughter, so hopefully she doesn't have two left feet, and so I'll be sending her to you.
No, she won't. But if she does.
Oh my goodness. All right. So last but not least, this is one last question. What is your daily routine? What does your daily routine look like? Do you have a daily routine? And what does it look like?
Are you trying to break me down? Some of these things I need to work on. I was talking to my husband about that today because I do have a son.
Yes.
So life,
yes. Oh, it gets real.
It gets so real. I strive for a daily routine. No, I don't have one. I don't.
But you know what?
Routine. Go ahead.
But you know what? No, I like that because again, on this entrepreneurial journey, everything doesn't have to be perfect. We're not at our destiny. We're on the road to our destiny, and that's one thing we have to realize. We can't beat ourselves up over perfection, because if we compare ourselves to the person to the left or to the right, we'll always be looking like we're 13 steps backwards. But we have to be in the moment. We have to be in the present. We have to know that we have achieved some things. If you look back in our rearview mirror, we'll see how far we came, and that's one thing I do want to commend you on your journey, and that's one thing. We're going to go through and wrap it up with this right here, because I want our listeners to go through and actually find you, because you're doing such a dynamic job in this industry. You're doing such a fantastic job with our next generation, and you are what an entrepreneur should be. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for individuals that are striving along the way. So I want you to go through and kind of just give us some parting pieces of advice for any entrepreneur. Then also close with us how we can go through and find you, if it's IG, Facebook, whatever it is. Close with how we can find you. And if you have any upcoming events, we definitely want to hear about that as well.
Well, again, thank you in advance for having me. Yes, I do, because I was going to stop you because I thought about your question with the daily routine. What I will say to entrepreneurs out there, write the vision and make it plain. I'm big on vision boards. I'm big on writing goals down. Also at the beginning of the year, like 10 goals. And I would say 80% of the things that I've written down have become a reality.
Wow.
So be clear on what it is you want. And write it down. If you're like, I want to start a podcast, write that down and say what type, say how successful you want to be. Anything you want, just write it down.
Wow.
I say that for sure. Wow. Write it, because I have proof. Maybe next time when you ask me to be back on this show, I can show you my vision boards. But I literally had like the blueprint for a dance studio.
Wow.
And I ended up getting another dance studio.
Wow.
Even when it came to my son, I put that I, wanted to be a mom. That happened.
Wow.
Then I also put a picture of this woman like juggling everything. I don't know why I put that. That's me now. Like he's sitting on my lap and I'm updating my face.
Wow.
Write it out.
Beautiful.
And I've also said things like I want 10 kids. Then 10. Then I say I want 50 kids.
Oh, I thought you meant birthing 10 kids.
Oh no.
Okay.
Let's be very clear.
Okay.
I'm going back to
to students.
To the studio.
Got it. Okay.
I wrote down that I wanted, like when I had the 2 kids.
Yes.
I wrote, in a month I want 10. Nice. In a year I want 50.
Wow.
Whatever.
Wow.
So write it down. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Good luck again to all the entrepreneurs. Just do it. It can be done. It will not be easy, but it can be done. Okay. Believe in yourself. Don't let anybody stop you. I know you hear all of that good stuff, but it's so real.
Perfect.
Sometimes you may have to keep stuff to yourself to protect your dream. So whatever it is you want to do it. Again, my name is Samantha Stone. You can find me and my business on Instagram. My business Project Slide is at Project Slide. Facebook at Project Slide. My nickname is Cakes. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about that. That's my nickname. So if you're looking for me on Instagram, it's at Gotta Love Cakes, and Twitter it's at I Am Cakes.
Wow.
We do have our recital coming up.
Oh yes.
May 13th at the First Center for the Arts.
Wow.
It is entitled United We Dance. It's at 7 p.m. You're all invited to come check us out. And if you want more information about my dance studio, you can visit www.projectslide.com.
Perfect. And before we go, where can they get tickets for your up and coming recital?
Yes, you can visit the First Center's website, which is Georgia Tech. You can check out their website. Again, the show is May 13th.
Perfect.
You can just go to that date under events, and we're called United We Dance.
Perfect.
So,
Well, I'll definitely include a link to
oh,
that website
thank
as
you.
well up under this as well. So again, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the ASKFaris show. You've been a phenomenal guest. I think that our
Thank
listeners
you.
are walking with tools, tactics, and techniques that they can put in their repertoire that they can go through and continue to actually be those extraordinary entrepreneurs. So again, we'd like to say thank you so much, Samantha, for
You're
coming on
welcome. Thank
board.
you for having
All right,
me.
and guys, we look forward to hear from you guys later on next week. All right, take
Yes.
care.
Good
Bye.
luck, guys.
Bye.